Did you watch TV last night? Have you charged your cell phone recently? If you did, you used electricity. Now that isn't news. What might be news is the fact that in Iowa, almost half of our electricity comes from coal. In fact, coal generates 50% of all the electricity used in the country. It's the fuel that keeps our lights on and our power bills affordable. Its abundance in America will help provide energy security into the next century. And the commitment by America's electricity providers to develop and use new technologies continues to make coal cleaner than ever before. All reasons why, as presidential candidates campaign in Iowa, we should insist they share their plans for our energy future. And we need to make abundant, affordable coal-generated electricity part of the discussion. Coal. It's the fuel that has to be a part of America's energy future. To learn more, visit iowaspower.org. Clean coal. It's America's power. Paid for by Americans for Balanced Energy Choices.
People don't want to view themselves as bad people, and they'll do the right thing if you present the case clearly to them and make it so it's, inexcusable for them not to do something about it. I mean, I think it's just a matter of making sure that message gets across. And I think people will, they'll speak up and they'll do the right thing. But it's, a matter of making them aware of that.
All reasons why, as presidential candidates campaign in Iowa, we should insist they share their plans for our energy future.
The planet is heavily stressed by our greenhouse gas emissions already. We're at the point of catastrophe, not only for the state, but for modern civilization. Look at the state. In some areas, the snowpack is down 40%. There's already been a connection between wildfire frequency intensity in Montana. It's already here in every direction from Missoula.
Global warming is the biggest market failure in human history because nobody ever valued the place that we live and our ability to live there over making money off burning fossil fuels.
We don't have time for incremental steps. We need to move off of fossil fuels as fast as possible. And we're drawing attention to the fact that despite all the positive talk from our elected officials at the federal level, the local level, and the state level in Montana, we are still burning massive quantities of fossil fuels. It's a great symbol. And it reminds people of how far we have to go to secure a livable planet for our children.
Montana leaders and I would have a disagreement over how wise it is to really try to invest right now in a coal to liquids industry to power the transportation sector.
If the coal industry really has that much control over the government, people have to do something about it. And I think that's what we're trying to do here is just raise some awareness and try to get people to start telling their leaders that it's not really in their best interest and that's not what they want.
Well, people can get away with not being involved. It's like when there was a war in World War II, and I think it's a good historical analogy to our current situation. My mother and father grew up in New York City. My mother was afraid of Adolf Hitler. They saw airplanes going over, they saw ships docking, they saw wounded soldiers coming back. Their parents were concerned. It was a very imminent threat. People were dying. Take care, Hillary. People were dying all around the world. And plus, guys in their street were getting drafted. Some of them were not coming back. There was gold stars hung in the window if they died. And it was a very visceral, immediate threat that couldn't be argued with. Global warming is also a current threat. 150,000 people a year are already dying, but it's not so obvious to people, especially in wealthy countries. And so people can still maintain a pretty high comfort level and not be involved.
Unless we have public policy values that dictate our choices on what energy sources we invest in, we're going to pick the wrong ones, and we're going to pick ones based on politics and ones based on money.
The whole thing in the United States, we have a corrupted political system. The fossil fuel industry is very politically sophisticated.